The Studio Doesn't Sleep. Chapter 1. Screen Test. The lights were too bright. Drew Morrow stood on a taped X in the center of a windowless room. One camera. 3 people behind a folding table. No smiles. The walls were bare. The air was still. And the script in his hands? Not a real script, just 5 lines. Disconnected. Strange. I won't go down there. Let the blood tell the truth. I am the lens. Do I have to die for it? Okay. Drew took a breath. He read the lines, once through, then again, as asked. He made a choice, more desperate this time, a little broken. His voice cracked on the word die. When he was done, silence filled the room like fog. The man in the center scribbled something. The woman to his left adjusted her glasses. But the third, she didn't blink. Older, beautiful in that cold, carved way. She wore black velvet and stared like she was seeing behind his skin. Then she smiled. "You were born for this," she said softly. "We have something stronger in mind. A role truer to your nature." Drew's chest tightened. "Wait, really?" She nodded once and handed him a matte black card with nothing on it but a name. Eilith Vaughn. "Expect a call tonight. I believe in faces like yours." He thanked her too many times, nearly forgot his bag. Outside, the sun blinded him. It didn't feel like a good thing. He met up with his friends at a bar off Melrose. Divey, familiar sticky tables and half-priced beers. His best friend, Corey, was already 2 drinks deep and arguing with the bartender about a movie no one saw. "You think I wanted to see The Shriekening?" Corey was saying. "I only watched it because you—" "I just got out," Drew interrupted, sliding into the booth. "Got out of jail? Of the callback, the screen test, whatever the hell it was." Corey leaned in, already grinning. "How bad was it?" "It was weird," Drew admitted. "No script, just 5 lines. The lady running it said they have something better for me, something truer to my nature." Corey raised an eyebrow. "That's either a compliment or she thinks you're a demon." Drew smirked, but his eyes kept flicking to his phone on the table. No calls, no texts. "I'm serious, man," he said. "She looked at me like she already knew me. Said she'd call." "That's what they all say, the ones who don't call." "No, this one's different. I felt it, I really did." He checked his phone again. Still nothing. He turned it face down like it was betraying him. Corey watched him for a beat. "All right," he said. "But if she does call, you owe me a drink named after you." "I'll buy the bar," Drew said, "with my face on every glass." They laughed. But under the table, Drew's leg bounced like a ticking metronome, and somewhere across Los Angeles, a number was already dialing his fate. Chapter 2. The Call. 2:37 in the morning. Drew's phone buzzed violently on the nightstand, jerking him from a half-sleep filled with flickering lights and whispered applause. He groaned, blindly pawing for it. The screen lit up with a number he didn't recognize, but the area code was LA. He answered. "Hello?" A woman's voice, smooth and low. "Drew, Eilith Vaughn wanted you invited." He sat up. "To what?" "There's a gathering tonight, industry types, big names. You're on the list. Dress well. The address is incoming." Before he could respond, the call ended. A second later, a text dropped in. 3600 Juniper Seat, Eastgate, 3rd floor. Code 313. Come alone. Drew rubbed his face, heart beating hard. He was exhausted. He had work in less than 4 hours, but the idea of missing this felt worse than losing sleep. He launched out of bed, hit the shower, and threw on his best outfit: black boots, dark jeans, leather jacket over a slim black tee. Simple, sharp. In the mirror, he looked like someone who belonged to something. The building looked abandoned, cracked windows, graffiti. An old sign above the door read Masonic Lodge, but the third floor lit like a film set. Security stood at the stairwell in tuxedos. One scanned Drew's ID while the other typed in the code. The door clicked. Music pulsed softly beyond it, the kind that sounded expensive. Inside, the space had been transformed: flickering chandeliers, velvet curtains, gold-framed art that didn't look digital or legal. People sipped from black crystal glasses, laughed without sound, and wore designer clothes like armor. Drew recognized at least 4 people immediately. 3 from Netflix shows, 1 from a Marvel movie. His jaw hung open. Then she appeared, Eilith Vaughn, in a deep red gown, her hair a dark waterfall over one shoulder. Her eyes found him like they'd never stopped watching. "Mr. Morrow," she said, gliding over, "you clean up well." I didn't think this was real," Drew muttered. "It's more real than you know." She turned to the crowd. "Come, meet some people who matter." She led him through the room like a tour guide in hell's most glamorous circle. Everyone looked at him with interest. Some nodded, some smirked. No one asked who he was. They already knew. He was invited. He drank. Eilith handed him a glass with something dark red inside. It tasted like wine, but thicker, stronger. Someone whispered in his ear, "You're going to be huge." Someone else tapped his chest. "You've got that rare energy." He floated through the night, never once checking the time, until sunlight lanced through a broken window. 6:03 in the morning. He sobered fast. "Shit," he hissed, scrambling out of the building. 6:28 in the morning. Drew clocked in at the construction site, boots hitting concrete, a hard hat on his head, and the taste of blood wine still on his tongue. The other workers grunted hellos as they hoisted steel and rebar. He stood there, blinking into the rising sun, a jackhammer screaming to life behind him. It felt like 2 separate lives, 2 separate people, and only one of them had a future. Chapter 3. No meat on the menu. The smell of sweat and drywall clung to Drew's skin, but he didn't care. He was electric. The entire day had passed in a dizzy, sleep-deprived blur, lifting beams, loading pallets, getting cursed at by a foreman who thought his hard hat was on backward. But Drew didn't even flinch, not once. He kept thinking about the night before, about Eilith, about the man from the peripheral who had bumped glasses with him like they were old friends, about the way the wine had tasted, how it had made the whole room feel like it was made of velvet. More than anything, he thought about how it felt to be seen. By the time he got home, the sun was sinking behind the city, painting his apartment in dusty gold. He collapsed onto the mattress, shoes still on, and let his body start to shut down. His phone buzzed. He groaned, barely opening one eye. "Eilith, dinner tonight, 7 o'clock in the evening. Please be presentable. Car will pick you up." Another message followed with a location pin. Beverly Hills. Drew blinked. "Jesus," he muttered. It was already 6:07. He flung himself into the shower, changed into something clean, button-down, dark slacks, the jacket he'd used for interviews, the kind that said I could be somebody. The restaurant was hidden behind a gallery, no name, no sign, just a doorman who nodded and opened a black door into candlelight and murmurs. It smelled like expensive herbs and fresh-cut wood. Eilith was already seated, dressed in pale silk that shimmered like bone. Across from her sat a man with silver hair, charcoal eyes, and a face that had likely never been told no. His posture was straight, his smile unreadable. "Drew Morrow," Aelith said, motioning. "This is Mr. Vale. He owns Halcyon Studios." Drew froze mid-step. "Halcyon? Like the Halcyon?" "Sit," Vale said, gesturing. He obeyed. A waiter approached. Without asking, Vale said, "2 house plates, no meat." The man disappeared. Drew blinked. "Oh, I usually eat—" "Not anymore," Vale interrupted smoothly. "Animal products don't agree with the frequencies we're aligning you to." "Frequencies?" Drew repeated. Aelith smiled over her wine glass. "You're being prepared, cleaned. Fame requires clarity." He chuckled nervously. "Is this like a diet thing? For a role?" Vale leaned in slightly. "Think of it as positioning. There are certain thresholds you'll need to cross. The less noise in the body, the more clearly you can hear what's being offered." Drew swallowed. The waiter returned with 2 plates, greens, seeds, roasted roots, and something gelatinous that shimmered when the candlelight hit it. He stared at it. Aelith didn't. She dug in like she hadn't eaten in days. So Drew followed. It wasn't bad. It wasn't good. It just was. After dinner, Vale handed him a small black envelope. "Your formal invitation," he said. "The studio is ready to begin." Drew took it with trembling fingers. "We'll be in touch," Aelith said softly. "Try not to eat anything impure. It clouds the performance." He nodded, too fast, too eager. He didn't know why he felt cold. Chapter 4. Don't Forget Us. The diner was a dive. Greasy menus, wobbly tables, the kind of place that played 90s alt rock just loud enough to drown out any serious conversation. It was Drew's spot. Always had been. Tonight, though, it felt a little smaller. He sat in the booth with Corey and Lexi across from him. They were splitting mozzarella sticks and inhaling milkshakes like the world was ending. "Drew, just a salad. No cheese, no dressing, just greens, almonds, and water." "You okay?" Lexi asked, stabbing a fry into ketchup. "You look clean." Drew grinned. "I feel good. I'm telling you, things are finally clicking." Corey raised a brow. "All right, actor boy, lay it on us." Drew leaned forward, his voice dropping just enough to sound important. "I had dinner last night with a guy named Vale. He owns Halcyon Studios." Corey choked on his soda. "Wait, the Halcyon? That's some real Illuminati Lexi smacked his arm. Drew nodded, eyes lit. "I know. He said they're getting ready to offer me something, a role, something big." "Damn," Lexi said, smiling. "That's actually crazy. But like, it's all been kind of weird," Corey said, eyes narrowing. "You said that party was in an abandoned building?" "Yeah, but it was full of industry people, real ones. I saw Ezra Marin and the girl from that new vampire thing." "Still sounds like Eyes Wide Shut too," Corey muttered. Drew laughed. "Come on, man, you're just jealous." "No, I'm concerned. You've been eating like a damn bird for 3 days. They told me no meat, said something about frequencies and clarity and—" Drew caught himself. "It's probably just a detox thing. Prepping for screen time, you know?" Corey and Lexi exchanged a quick glance. "But you're good?" Lexi asked. "Better than ever," Drew said, pushing another forkful of flavorless greens into his mouth. "I know it sounds strange, but I feel like I'm finally being seen. Like I belong somewhere." There was a short silence. Then Corey reached across the table and clinked his soda glass against Drew's water. "All right," he said. "Just don't forget us when you're rich and famous." Lexi nodded. "For real. We'll support whatever you're chasing, as long as you don't change so much that you forget who you are." Drew smiled, but something about the salad, about the bitter aftertaste in his throat, made it hard to finish chewing. "I won't," he said. "I promise." Outside, headlights passed by the diner window. In one of them, for just a second, he thought he saw Alith sitting in the back seat of a car, watching him. But when he blinked, it was gone. Chapter 5. Studio Orientation. The building looked like a soundstage, but it was far too quiet. Drew stood outside stage 12 of Halcyon Studios, staring at the sleek black door. Eilith's message had simply read, "Orientation, dress comfortably, bring nothing." Inside, it was white, blindingly white. The floor, the walls, the light, no shadows, no sound. A woman in a white lab coat greeted him. She didn't smile. "Drew Morrow, please undress." He froze. "Sorry." "Clothing off," she repeated. "We need to see what's underneath." There was a long, padded bench in the middle of the room. Along the wall stood a figure, tall, bald, and all black, sketching on a large easel with long, sharp strokes. Drew hesitated, but then he thought of the wine, the party, Vale's cold smile, the envelope in his drawer. He swallowed and undressed. He stood there in the center of the room, fully nude, trying not to fidget. The woman in the lab coat circled him slowly, murmuring numbers and notes to someone unseen. Then came the pricks. Tiny needles, one in the thigh, one in his neck, two along his ribs. He flinched each time, but didn't speak. Another man entered, a different coat, gloves. He adjusted Drew's stance, feet wider, arms out. "You're naturally symmetrical," the man said, tilting his head. "Useful." Drew tried to breathe normally. The artist never looked up. Then came the worst part. "Squat," the woman said. "What?" "Squat and cough, deeply." He hesitated. His stomach turned. But he did it. The woman nodded. "Good. You'll need to shave. All body hair, arms, legs, chest, groin. It catches energy. We need your surface clean." Okay, sure." She handed him a sealed packet. Inside was a razor, a small vial of oil, and a black cloth. "You'll be contacted tomorrow with your dietary reset and the fasting schedule. No alcohol, no sugar, just water and light broth. The next roll will demand purity." Drew stood there, still naked, nodding like this was normal, like this was fine, like this was what it took. As he dressed and walked back out into the LA sun, his hands shook slightly. He didn't know what they saw when they looked at him, but he hoped to God it was enough. Chapter 6. The Key. The BMW didn't belong there. Drew stared at it from the sidewalk, one boot still in the street. It was parked right in front of his apartment building, sleek, midnight black, the kind of luxury that looked like it shouldn't be touched without gloves, chrome rims, tinted windows, clean enough to see your dreams in the reflection. He glanced around. There was no one inside, no one nearby, and definitely no one in this neighborhood who drove anything newer than a 10-year-old Corolla. His heart ticked faster. Up the steps, down the hallway, he froze at his door. There was a black envelope taped to it. Inside, a single key fob with the BMW logo and a small white hotel card. The Edison, penthouse, room 1201, 2 weeks, paid. Below it, handwritten in delicate thin cursive, "The studio moves fast. Keep up." He stared at the card, then at the key, then back at the BMW. 15 minutes later, Drew was sitting in the driver's seat, doors closed, engine whispering to life. It smelled like fresh leather and subtle cologne. The seat adjusted itself to his body. The dash glowed like it was alive. He started laughing. "Holy shit," he whispered. "Holy shit." He took a shaky breath, pulled out his phone, and texted Eilith. "Drew, this is insane. Thank you. I don't even know what to say." Eilith, "You've earned it. See you soon." He didn't even wait. He called Corey. "Bro," he said when Corey picked up, "you need to come outside, like right now. I'm not kidding." "What? Why? It's 9 o'clock at night." "I got a car. A BMW. A penthouse. They left the key at my door." "What?" "I'm not joking, Corey. This is real. It's happening. I think this is it." 10 minutes later, Corey was standing outside, mouth open, hands on his head. "What the hell is this?" "It's me, baby," Drew grinned, spinning the key around his finger. "It's finally me." "You said they gave it to you? Who gives someone a car?" "They said I'm being positioned." "For what? Godhood?" "I don't know, but I'm going with it." Corey looked at the car, then at Drew. "Just don't forget who you were before all this." "I won't," Drew said, sliding on his sunglasses, even though it was pitch black outside. "But I've got somewhere I need to be." He revved the engine, felt the car hum like a promise, and pulled away from the curb. The city opened before him like a mouth, and he drove into it, smiling. Chapter 7. A Free Man. The BMW purred as it pulled into the gravel lot of the construction site. Every head turned. Drew stepped out slowly, like he was stepping onto a red carpet. His boots were new, his shirt was tailored, his smile was sharp. "Damn," someone muttered. "Is that yours?" another asked. Drew just nodded, walked straight toward the foreman's trailer. Inside, the old man looked up from a clipboard and blinked twice. "You late?" "Nope," Drew said. "I quit." The foreman snorted. "Say that again?" "I quit. Effective immediately." "You're serious?" "Completely." The man looked him over, like trying to decide whether to be angry or impressed. "You got another job?" "Something like that." Drew turned, stepped back into the sunlight, and didn't look back. He drove through the hills, windows down, radio off. The silence felt sacred. No hammering, no yelling, no concrete dust in his lungs. He stopped at a boutique vegan cafe in Silver Lake. It smelled like citrus and sage and privilege. He ordered a $22 kale root salad with microgreens and sat by the window like he belonged there. He tipped extra. Back at the hotel, he stripped, showered, and shaved again, even though he'd already done it the day before. The razor glided over smooth skin, catching nothing. Still, he went over every inch of his body until he felt raw and ready. The mirror fogged with steam, but he didn't clear it. He didn't want to look himself in the eyes. 2:44 in the morning. His phone buzzed. Eilith. "Return to the Juniper building. Same floor. 3 o'clock sharp. Wear something that fits the room." His heart beat faster. He picked a charcoal suit from the closet. New, pressed, still tagged. The studio must have sent it. He didn't remember packing it. Slid it on, adjusted the cuffs, checked his silhouette. He looked expensive. The drive was quiet. The BMW felt like a spaceship. Juniper Street was dead, the building darker than before. Still, he walked toward it with no hesitation. This time, the door didn't need a code. It opened on its own. Chapter 8. Dead weight. The party pulsed slower this time, darker. Gone were the flashy celebrities and open laughter. This felt more like a meeting. Everyone moved in hushed tones. Masks covered some faces. Others wore glasses so dark you couldn't see their eyes. Drew stuck to the wall with a glass of something he couldn't identify. He couldn't tell if it was wine, blood, or both. Eilith approached, smooth as a shadow. She didn't speak, just nodded toward the far end of the room. There stood Vale, the executive, same black suit, same unreadable face. Between them a chair, a table, a folder. Drew sat. Vale didn't waste time. "We're nearing a threshold," he said. "You're being watched, by many, some of them not forgiving." He slid the folder forward. Drew opened it. Inside were photos. Corey at a gas station, Lexi at a party. There were documents, arrest records, sealed court orders, a weapons charge, a hit and run, drug possession, probation violations, names, dates, case numbers. Drew blinked hard. No way. Corey's not. He's not like that. He was, Eilith said calmly. It only takes one headline, one old mugshot, one friend with baggage. Vale's voice was colder. You're about to step into light. You cannot afford shadows. But they're my friends, Drew said quietly. They were, Eilith replied. You've outgrown them. He looked down at the photos again. Lexi smiling on a porch. Corey flipping off a camera. They looked real, human, home. Something twisted in his gut, not guilt, fear. Fear that if he didn't act, this would all vanish. The car, the suit, the wine, the dream. And he wanted it. He wanted it more than anything. He pulled out his phone. His fingers shook, but he typed fast. Drew. I can't believe you idiots didn't tell me about your criminal records. You almost ruined everything for me. Stay the hell away from me. Don't text, don't call. If you show up anywhere near me again, I'll put you in the hospital myself. I'm done with both of you. He hit send. Vol watched him. Eilith poured another drink. Drew put the phone away and exhaled, slow and shaky. Something inside him cracked, but the applause in his head drowned it out. Chapter 9. Jungle Scene. Drew had never seen a set like this. He stepped out of the BMW and stared across a wide open clearing. Trees surrounded the area like a mouth waiting to close. The sun was high and gold. Cicadas screamed. At the center of the clearing was a black trailer, a large canvas tent, and several people dressed in black moving equipment around without speaking. No signs, no trucks, no call sheet, no paperwork, just presence. Drew Morrow, said a man with round sunglasses and a clipboard that seemed to serve no purpose. We're ready for you. I didn't sign anything, Drew said, following him into the tent. That'll be handled later. No non-disclosures, no sides. I haven't even read a script. You don't need to, the man replied. This is method rehearsal. We're capturing instinct, fear, purity. Inside the tent, Eilith was waiting, sipping something dark from a porcelain teacup. She didn't look up. Take off your shirt, Drew. He hesitated. Vol stood nearby, arms crossed. This is the jungle scene. You've been captured by cannibals. The ropes will be loose. Slip out of them, then run. Where to? Into the trees. As far as you can. Don't stop until you hear the bell. They handed him the rope, thick, frayed, old. It reeked of something metallic. No cameras that he could see. Just the rustle of leaves and the distant hum of insects. He stood in the middle of the clearing, shirtless, the ropes loosely tied around his chest and wrists. The sun burned down. He could hear faint whispers beyond the tree line. He laid down. For a moment he tried to imagine the character, lost, desperate, panicked. But then the voice returned in his head. Oscar, written all over you. So he let go. Gave them real terror, real confusion, eyes darting, breath shallow. A long pause, then, "Go!" He thrashed, ripped the ropes off, stumbled to his feet and ran into the jungle like something was chasing him. The world blurred. Thorns scratched his skin, branches slapped his face, his lungs screamed. Still he ran. 5 minutes, 10, then clang. A distant bell echoed through the trees. He stopped, gasping. Sweat poured off him. His hands shook. When he emerged from the trees, they were all waiting, Eilith, Val, the silent assistants. And then came the applause. It rose like a wave, dozens of hands clapping, no cameras in sight, yet everyone clapped like they'd watched a film on a giant screen. Eilith approached first. "Brilliant," she said. "You didn't act, you existed. You were prey." Val nodded. "Oscar, it's written all over you." Drew laughed, still out of breath, buzzing with adrenaline and disbelief. "You really think so?" "I know so," Val said. "We'll cut the footage," Eilith added. "Show it this Friday, a private screening. All the executives will be there, the old guard, the people who make gods." Drew's knees almost buckled. "Friday? Wear something that bleeds ambition," Val said. "This is the moment. You've been preparing your whole life." Drew looked around. Everyone was smiling, silent, beautiful, like carved statues programmed to clap. He wanted to cry. He wanted to scream. He wanted more. That night, back in the penthouse suite, Drew stood shirtless in the mirror. His body ached. There were small cuts along his sides and shoulders, but he couldn't stop smiling. He imagined his name in gold. He imagined standing on a stage. He imagined people thanking him for inspiring them, for saving them, for existing. He whispered into the mirror, "Best actor goes to..." And he laughed. Wild, alone. Chapter 10. Convictions. The sun was sharp and blinding. Los Angeles buzzed around Drew like it always did, cars honking, people shouting into Bluetooths, dogs barking in designer strollers. He cradled the salad like it was sacred, kale, beet strands, hemp hearts, and 3 edible flowers, $34 and a plastic fork. He'd stopped noticing the taste weeks ago. It was ritual now. He turned the corner toward the parking garage, then stopped dead. Corey and Lexi stood by his car. They looked thinner, more tired. Lexi had on a hoodie with the sleeves chewed up. Corey's eyes were bloodshot, but not from drugs, from worry. "Drew," Corey said, hands raised like he was talking to a wild animal. Drew froze. The salad trembled in his hand. "What are you doing here?" he asked flatly. "We needed to see you," Lexi said. "You've been ghosting us. You look like you've dropped 20 pounds, man," Corey added, stepping closer. "Are you eating? Like, actually eating?" "I'm eating what I'm supposed to eat," Drew snapped. "I'm becoming who I'm supposed to be." Lexi frowned. "What the hell does that mean?" Drew's voice rose. "It means I'm shedding dead weight. It means I don't need convicts following me around." They both blinked. "What?" Lexi asked. "I saw the records," Drew hissed. "The charges, all of it. You almost ruined me." Corey stepped forward again. "Drew, what are you talking about? I haven't been arrested since high school, and that was for a fight I didn't even start." "Exactly," Drew said, pointing the plastic fork at him. "That's the story, right? It wasn't me. You sound like a damn cliché." Lexi's eyes narrowed. "Who gave you this crap?" Drew didn't answer. "You're not well," she said, taking a cautious step. "Look at you. You're shaking. Your cheekbones are sunken in. You don't even blink right anymore." "I'm perfect," Drew snapped. Then, in one quick, furious movement, he hurled the salad. The container hit Corey square in the chest. Lettuce, beets, and vinaigrette exploded across his hoodie like blood splatter. No one moved for a second. Corey looked down at the mess, then back up. His face hardened. "You know what, man?" he said quietly. "Whatever they're doing to you, it's not worth it." Lexi wiped her cheek and shook her head. "You're not chasing fame anymore. You're chasing approval from monsters." Drew opened the door to his BMW without a word, climbed inside, and slammed it shut. They didn't follow. They just stood there, covered in salad, watching the Drew they knew disappear down the road. The penthouse felt colder than usual when he arrived. The windows were too clean, the air too still. He sat on the couch, breathing hard. They were wrong. They didn't get it. They were holding him back. He wiped his hands and whispered under his breath, "Oscar, written all over me." But the reflection in the glass coffee table didn't smile with him. It just stared. Chapter 11. The Reshoot. The BMW cut through the canyons like a knife. Headlights sharp. Music off. Drew's hands gripped the wheel so tightly they'd gone pale. He kept replaying Eilith's voice in his head. They watched the footage, all of them, and they couldn't believe it. Said they've never seen raw instinct like that on tape. He'd laughed when she said it, almost cried. Then came the real kicker. They want to see it again, in person. She hadn't said ask, she'd said want. And who were they? Only the 33 most powerful people in Hollywood. 33. That number rang in Drew's head the entire ride to the Juniper building. The location hadn't changed, but the feeling had. There were black cars parked in front now. Bentleys, Teslas, a Rolls-Royce with blood-red trim. A man in a burgundy suit met Drew at the door. "This way, Mr. Morrow," he said. "They're already seated." Seated. Like an audience. Inside, the space had been transformed into something theatrical and sacred. Candles lined the perimeter. Thick, hanging drapes created a boxed-in atmosphere, like a chamber play. At the far end of the room sat 33 people, arranged in 3 rows of 11. Some wore masks, others didn't. Drew recognized faces, some too famous to be anywhere without bodyguards. Actors, directors, producers, names that could buy cities. And they were all looking at him. Eilith stood beside the makeshift stage. "You remember the scene," she said softly. "Same instinct, same truth. Don't hold back. They came here for you." His mouth was dry. His hands trembled, but he nodded. "Of course," he said. "I'm ready." The rope felt the same at first, rough, coarse, familiar. They tied it around his wrists, then his chest, then his legs. Only this time, it was tighter. Too tight. "Hey," Drew started, chuckling nervously. "You're tying it different." "Just for tension," the burgundy suit man said. "We want to see the struggle this time." The knot tightened. He couldn't move his legs, couldn't flex his arms. The ropes bit into his skin. "Eilith?" he asked, eyes scanning the room. "Hey guys, this is a little too real." No answer. The room went silent. The 33 watched, expressionless, still, waiting. And for the first time in this entire journey, Drew felt it. Panic. Real, crawling, animal panic. He struggled. The ropes didn't give, not a millimeter. He opened his mouth to speak again, and the lights dimmed. Chapter 12. One more take. The lights came back up slowly, dimmer now, redder. The room had gone impossibly still, like the air itself was waiting. Drew sat in the center of the circle, bound tightly, sweat already dotting his forehead. But his face was focused, composed. He locked into the moment. He was prey. He was pain. He was the scene. And when the cue dropped, he performed. His breathing shallow, his eyes wide. He tugged at the ropes. He pleaded with the silence. He let a single tear fall down his cheek. Raw. Perfect. When he finished, no one clapped. Not right away. Then Vale stood, slowly, and began a single round of applause. The others followed, one by one. Soft, rhythmic, cold. Brilliant, said someone from the back row. But Aelith stepped forward. There's still something missing, she said. Something real, Vale added. We didn't feel it in your eyes. The terror. Drew blinked. Terror? Don't worry, Aelith said, voice syrupy sweet. We'll go again. Just once more. Right, Drew muttered. Okay. Just give me a second. He tried to move. The rope didn't budge. He twisted his wrists. Nothing. Hey, he said, trying to keep the fear out of his voice. Guys, this is a little too tight. I can't get out. Perfect, Vale said. What? You shouldn't be able to escape, said one of the assistants, stepping closer. Not this time. Drew's pulse spiked. No, wait. But the lights shifted again. A low tone echoed through the room like a gong underwater. No camera rolled. No director called action. And still, he performed. His body thrashed. His face contorted. He cried out. He gave them everything he had. But when it was time to rise, he couldn't. The ropes had cut into his skin now. His wrists throbbed. His ankles burned. Panic surged like electricity. Okay, guys, I'm done now, he said, twisting. You can cut me out now. No one moved. It's okay, someone said from the back row. You're doing fine, another added. Aelith knelt beside him, stroking his hair. Don't struggle. You're not being punished. You're being processed. What the hell does that mean? He writhed harder, feeling his skin break under the fibers. His eyes scanned the faces, calm, smiling, satisfied. And then he noticed the assistant, a small, quiet man in black, kneeling just outside the candlelight, slipping his hand into Drew's discarded pants pocket, pulling out the BMW key, the penthouse key card, sliding them into his own pocket with practiced ease. Drew froze. Wait, what the fuck are you doing? No answer. Hey, what's going on? He barked, straining now, the ropes digging deeper. You won't need those anymore, Aelith whispered. He thrashed violently. No. What the hell is this? You said this was a scene. It is, Vale said calmly. But not your scene. And that's when Drew finally saw the mirror, mounted high above the room, tilted down like a lens. And he realized this wasn't a performance. This was the movie. He couldn't scream anymore. His voice had shattered somewhere between the third no and the sixth sob. The ropes weren't ropes now. They were part of him, fused with his skin. His wrists were slick with blood, but it didn't matter. There was no escaping. Not this time. Not ever. The room was alive with movement, and it wasn't cameras or makeup artists or sound engineers. It was them, the 33. They moved with the grace of dancers and the hunger of wolves. Knives clinked softly against polished bone-handled forks. Napkins were unfolded, sleeves rolled up. One man hummed a show tune as he sharpened his blade. Drew's eyes darted, heart punching his ribs like it wanted out. "This isn't happening," he whispered. This isn't. His breath caught. His lungs seized. The panic attack hit full force, his limbs tingling, head spinning, vision tunneling. His mouth filled with spit he couldn't swallow. He was dying without being dead. Eilith stepped forward, holding a delicate golden fork. She knelt beside him, brushed the hair from his blood-matted face. "You always had it," she said softly. "From the second I saw you in that room, I knew you'd feed them." "Feed?" He shook violently. "You said I was going to win awards. You said I was." Vale appeared behind her, slipping on silk gloves. "Oh, you are the award, Drew. You're the highest honor." People were surrounding him now, watching, smiling, some adjusting jewelry, others picking at teeth with pointed nails. It looked like a red carpet, if hell held premieres. "Why?" Drew cried. "Why are you doing this?" A woman in a diamond-studded mask leaned in. "To stay young," she whispered. "To keep our faces, our names, our worth. We feast on what's most rare." A man to her left nodded. "We feast on talent. It's the only thing with a true life force." "You have so much of it," Eilith added. "So much light inside you. We couldn't let it go to waste. Not on cameras." They all laughed. He thrashed hard, one last act of defiance, and then the first cut. A sharp, precise glide across his abdomen. The blade wasn't large. It didn't need to be. The pain was instant, white-hot, and world-ending. He screamed. His spine arched against the ropes. Blood ran down his sides, pooling at his hips. His eyes rolled back, but then he saw it. The first one. The woman from the very first audition. The one who smiled at him through tinted glass. She dipped a silver spoon into the wound and lifted a piece of his flesh to her lips, tender, careful, like tasting wine. She chewed. Drew screamed again, a guttural, broken wail that filled the air like fire. Eilith leaned close and whispered into his ear, "We can't kill you first. The life has to still be warm, flowing, conscious." "No," Drew sobbed. "No, no, no, no." "We want you to feel how precious you are," she added. Someone sliced into his thigh next, another peeled skin from his forearm. A man held up a rib with reverence, like it was an Oscar. They took turns, chewed slowly, moaned, savored. Vale narrated parts of it like a dinner host. "This is his drive. You can taste it, slightly bitter, very youthful." Drew could barely breathe. His body convulsed with every bite, every tear, every godless whisper of appreciation. He was the banquet. He was the performance. And then the doctor walked in. The one from the orientation. He approached without urgency, prepped a syringe with fluid the color of rose quartz, and slipped the needle into Drew's arm. "I told you," he said as Drew's vision began to swim. "You were naturally symmetrical. Perfect, inside and out." The pain dulled. Not gone, just muted, like a distant thunderstorm. But the awareness stayed, and that was worse, because Drew could still feel the forks, still see them carving, still hear the praise. "You're exquisite. This shoulder tastes like hope. I can feel his childhood in this piece. He wanted it so bad. Perfection." They ate for hours. By the time it was over, Drew wasn't dead, just hollow, a shell that once contained ambition, and a light that had finally gone out. Epilogue. Rewind. That. The news was on mute. Corey barely noticed it at first, just more noise in a bar that didn't want to be quiet. He was nursing a beer, scrolling through his phone, trying not to think about the friend who told him to stay away, the one who threw a salad at him, the one who drove off in a BMW like he was floating above the world. Lexi nudged him. "Hey." He looked up. The screen behind the bar showed a penthouse hotel, the Edison, yellow caution tape, police lights, a stretcher, a black body bag being wheeled out. A caption along the bottom read, "Breaking, overdose suspected in death of actor Drew Morrow." Corey stared. The bar seemed to go silent. "No," he whispered. "No. No. What?" The screen cut to aerial footage of the scene. More flashing lights. A pair of EMTs closing the back of an ambulance. A camera crew just outside the frame. The crowd held back. Lexi's hand covered her mouth. "Oh my God." Corey stood up, walked toward the screen, staring like he was trying to see through it. "That's not... He didn't do drugs," Corey said. "He was too clean. Obsessed with that diet, remember?" He squinted at the footage. The EMTs were wearing gloves, standard uniforms, moving mechanically. Then something clicked. "Wait," Corey muttered. "Can you rewind that?" The bartender looked up. "What?" "Rewind it. That clip, go back to the part where they load the body into the ambulance." The bartender frowned, but did it. The screen jumped back, frame by frame. There, the back of the ambulance. Corey stepped closer, squinting at the license plate. He froze. The numbers were off. The color, the font. It looked fake. Corey's skin crawled. "That's not a real ambulance," he whispered. Lexi looked at him. "What?" He didn't respond at first, just stared at the screen like it had just whispered something only he could hear. Then, finally, he didn't overdose. He turned to her, eyes wide, cold. "He was killed." The bartender laughed nervously. "Bro, it's the news. What, you think they filmed it?" Corey didn't laugh, because deep down, he knew. They didn't just film it. They filmed everything. Thank you for reading. To every reader who made it to this final page, thank you. The Studio Doesn't Sleep was more than just a horror story. It was a reflection of ambition, obsession, and the price some are willing to pay to be remembered. This story was built from shadows, stitched with truth, and whispered through the lens of a world we think we understand. If it disturbed you, good. If it made you think, even better. If it stays with you after the lights go out, then it did exactly what it was meant to do. There are more stories to come, deeper, darker, stranger. If you want to support, follow, or just keep up with what's next, at Together We Fear on all platforms. We're building something bigger than books, and it doesn't sleep either. With everything I have, Poe Nocturne.